30th of August 25, it's Saturday, and there was two polls this week saying that Reform were at 35%, and that's an all-time high for them in a poll. That was BMG. And in another one, they were 34%. That was in Find Out Now. And Labour were at 18%, so a 16% gap between them and Labour. The other one, I think Labour were about 20%, so 15% or something. But really, to me, it's no surprise. I mean, this week, Reform announced their Operation Restoring Justice, they call it, and it's about illegal entrance to the UK. Basically, I think everyone's going to get removed who comes in illegally. And I think, looking at it, I think it's Zia Yusuf's project, you know. So, yeah. And also, after these results from Find Out Now and BMG, Labour have just won the Epping legal case about the Bell Hotel. It's going to take people in again. And yeah, the people there are very unhappy about it. And the legal case actually said that I don't know if it's actually true, but people are saying that they're putting the illegals ahead of the people, the local people. You know, that was their case or something. And somebody was saying that the three judges seem to be Labour activists, or in the past they have been, or charities to do with the left. I don't know. You look at Guido Fawkes, they usually tell you the truth in these things. Yeah. And like I've said before, I think Reform will win most traditional Brits votes, and I'm talking about the left even, probably the left even more than the right, because a lot of them will go to Lib Dems because they're socialist lovies, champagne socialists. We did have a council election in Hampstead, London, on Thursday this week, so 2 days ago, and it's usually a Labour area, but it went to Lib Dem, and that's in inner London. It's a well-off area, very diverse. So for whatever reason, the people there have switched really from Labour to Lib Dem, you know. So even the Greens didn't do very well there, which was a surprise to me. But really, I think most of the traditional Labour vote is going to go to Reform, really. And I think somebody said that Reform are doing well with working class, but not so well with the middle class, you know. So it is ironic. And this seems to be happening all over, because AFD in Germany are finally topping the polls. I mean, it's neck and neck with them and CDU. They have been 26% with CDU at 25%, but that's the first time I've seen them in the lead in polls totally. And I think they're just going to pull away there as well. I think traditional Germans aren't being honest with themselves. They really want to vote them as a protest vote, but they still feel too ashamed. I would say don't be ashamed, you know. And Elon Musk is posting about UK all day, showing the Operation Raise the Flags thing, Raise the Colours. He's doing lots of things about that, so that's interesting. So I was asking Google Gemini about the results, and there we have the Find Out Now one. This is from August the 27th. Reform 34, Labour 18, so that's a 16-point gap. Tories 15, Lib Dems 13, Greens 10. So, and the other one was the BMG poll. So this was August 28th, I finished this one. And that's Reform 35, Labour 20, so a 15 gap there. Tories 17, Lib Dems 13, Greens 7. And I'm not sure if this is because, like I say, Reform just announced their policy for illegals. And a year ago in an interview, Nigel said it was impossible to deport all illegals, whereas now they're taking the view you can. And people are saying that's because the online right have gone on about it. And I think that's true, actually. And also, Reform have been trying to go with what will be acceptable to the public, but then the public's shifted on this as well, I think. So Or I would say they're being more honest about it. And when I say public, I mean traditional people, because I think they're the ones that have been keeping Labour and Tory going, really. Um, Even though they're getting less and less, there's still a big chunk at the moment in the country. Not in London or Birmingham or anything, but overall. So, yeah. So, these came after the Operation Restoring Justice, as they call it. I think it's Zia Yusuf's project, really. And this is just about illegals only. This doesn't mean about illegals. But Rupert Lowe and Advance UK as well have both been getting on it, Reform, about this and not doing enough about it. And it's not just about illegals, etc. So I think that's a fantastic situation to be in, to have Rupert Law, Restore UK and Advance UK on Nigel Farage's thing, because this is where the voters want to go. So they're probably going to go to Advance rather than Reform. And Restore UK, what they are doing is there's a cross-party thing, and they're using Parliament for every way they can and public opinion. They're commissioning polls with the right questions, because I find that a lot of them don't have the right questions. They're doing freedom of information things so that we get data, because really we don't have a lot of stats to go on. I don't know, either the governments don't want us to know, or they don't even know, which it could be half and half. I don't really. Um, for instance, for every person that's in court now, really we need to know their background, and also the same with the juries now as well. Um, if you really want justice to be seen to be done, you know. So anyway, I think this is a big shift, hopefully. Reform didn't win either of the two by-elections this week in Broxton or Hampstead. They had no chance in Hampstead. They only got about 8% there in the vote. And looking at the diversity of the place, I don't think they have any chance anyway. Whereas in Broxton, they nearly won. There was a few things. There were only 5 votes away. It was Tories that won it. It's a Tory area, I think. Um, but things conspired against them, really. So, looking at all this, it's really looking good for reform and for. I mean, it's too late, really. You'll need to do a sort of quite a big policy on this. But as Advance UK say, their policy is that it needs to stop at the moment. There needs to be a freeze on this, so that we can sort of figure out what's even going on, because nobody seems to even know, because they're like, most of the illegals get to stay. I think it's like 90% or something, in which case they bring their family over, and maybe over the years they'll bring their family tree and stuff. Yeah, we don't know why they don't want to stay where they are, whatever. And we don't know if they've ruled continents out when they're choosing where they're going to move to. There was video yesterday of someone inside Bell Hotel filming those outside. So he was someone claiming, a claimant, and then somebody showed his TikTok and stuff, his social media, and it was all machine guns. And apparently he's from Pakistan, because he's got the Pakistan flag and the British flag in his TikTok things, and it's showing him with machine guns and stuff. So that's what's coming over. I mean, we hear Labour MPs a lot of time giving examples of people who are doing some job in the economy. We give it as a good example. But say the Manchester bombing or something, can we associate them with that as well? Because they're saying this is a good side. They're giving a one-dimensional thing. We don't know that person's views on women's rights and stuff. But say the Manchester bombing, is that another example? And could they therefore be associated with that? I guess they would say no. I just wanted to point this out, the reform thing. It's really flying now. Even in Scotland, I mean, they're around about 18%, and there hasn't been a poll done all summer, but the last poll in May or something, they were about 18%. And I think it was the regional vote. And really, I think Reform are going to do. In a Hamilton by-election for Holyrood, they get 26%. So really, Reform are going to do really well in Scotland and in Wales. So, yeah, personally, I think they could get 50%, 55%. It's amongst the traditional British, I think it's limitless to 100%, really. Because I think people are thinking now on this issue, thinking maybe it's not going to be a utopia like Labour and the Tories have told us, And, you know, they say it's going to be a women's rights and LGBTQ plus rights utopia. But I think that people are getting a bit anxious about this, and finally, they've always been told they can't be reform. John Swinney still says that. He says Reform are the far party. So therefore, he's saying that Scots who vote Reform are far. So, but I think it feels that people really want to vote for them, but they're still too ashamed of the John Swinney stick, basically hitting them. And as Nicola Sturgeon said, I think it was last week in an interview with the rest of politics, she said people don't realise that SNP are the most pro change on this. Yeah, and yeah, so yeah, that's all I've got to say for just now.